anyone under the age of 45 has grown up and come of age in an economy where wages have stalled and we were encouraged to do certain things that became cheap. What became cheap? Eating out. Eating out used to be really expensive. Did you do that with your parents when you were young? Food and eating out used to be really expensive. It has become much cheaper. Technology. Technology used to be really expensive. It's become universal, particularly the smartphone. What else become really cheap? Travel. Thanks, Ryanair. But basically, the three things that millennials love doing, tech, eating out, avocado on toast, lattes, and travel, are the things that the economy almost incentivized us to do and spend our money on. Experiences. What became expensive? Housing, we know, both renting and buying. Education, we know. Childcare, most expensive childcare system in Europe. The big ticket items in life, to access adulthood, to access financial stability, to keep working, to build wealth. And who were able to access those points and those things? Those with the access to the bank of mum and dad. And so that is why we are living in an inheritance economy. And that's, I think, it is a fundamental impact on our growth. And I think we need to pull certain levers, be it whatever levers the Treasury has to hand, to ensure that we have an economy where inheritance matters less. Not is illegal or overly taxed, because it should be a right to pass on your wealth, right? Mm. It's not a bad thing. But it shouldn't be the only barometer and marker of opportunity.
The lever is tax though, right? That's how they would sort it.
Yeah, and you've already seen them do it, right? The recent budget started the tax on pensions. It started to close the loopholes around inheritance tax. It's, only 4% of estates currently pay, between 4 and 6% estates pay inheritance tax. And in the book, I spoke to a financial advisor who said, if you want, you don't have to pay, and no one needs to pay inheritance tax. You can avoid it. Buy a bit
of land.
You can avoid it. Right. You can avoid it.
Yeah, AIM stocks.
Yeah, exactly. So the loopholes are closing, but, I think we need to be also thinking about wages. We need to be thinking about skills. We need to be thinking about, was it a great idea to send as many people to university and saddle them with on average 50 grand debt? In an age of AI where we're going to be constantly having to upskill, there's no logic of saddling all those kids with potentially a 40-year debt on a degree that potentially won't see them through to a working life that, will be into our 70s by the time, with no state pension by that, and certainly no triple lock by the time we're in our 70s.
Certainly no triple lock.
And it speaks to the fact that we have an economy that is more guided towards the older generations than the young, and has done for a long time. And that's fundamentally an obstacle to growth.
Yeah, I walk around where we are at the minute and I see these massive houses. Well, they're not that big. They're like, there's roads down.
They're big enough, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I look on Rightmove because I'm nosy and I see they're like millions of pounds. And I think like, someone's probably bought that in the 80s for not that much. It's sat on all that money and it's just parked in this house. And it's like, if we could free up all that cash that's in the property market, even put it into the stock market, it would be more productive.
And they're trying to do that. I mean, I do think that both this government and probably the one before it realised where things were heading and perhaps what we needed to be, the kinds of things we needed to be talking about. And wages have increased since the pandemic, of course, but nothing like they need to, because everything else has gone up at the same time, right? So I think it's just like, I'm not a politician. I'm certainly not an economist. So I can't sit here and go, this is what you need to do. You need a 2% tax on this and da-da-da-da-da-da. I do think there's a really interesting development and trend amongst Gen Z who are, you can see it already, that they don't have the same false hope as millennials. Right, who said, I'll just ape what my parents did. I'll buy a house and I'll save and I'll, invest in a pension and do that kind of conventional economic route. I think Gen Z don't live by wages alone. You look at the emergence of side hustle culture, TikTok shop, you're looking at a generation that came of age with the ability to generate money beyond wage and generate potentially wealth as well, and a desire for better financial education, a cynicism when it comes to the corporate ladder, a much more fluid understanding of what their career looks like, and a greater savviness when it comes to education as well and what it can bring you.
And a better work-life balance.
Yeah, that's part of it, for sure. Yeah. Sure. They're looking at millennials going, you never switch off at weekends and you still can't afford a house.
Yeah.
You found your purpose, but you still can't afford a house.
Yeah. What do you think individuals can do then if you don't know what the system can do to fix itself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key point, is that, first of all, the whole point of the book was really to go, can we open up this conversation around inheritance and inheritocracy and the role that it plays in our economy? Have those conversations with your parents if they're relevant, right? Because for a lot of people, they won't be. Have those conversations with your friends. Like, you know, I was speaking to one girl at an event a couple of weeks ago and she was like, I don't understand it. We are in this friendship group and literally said houses are falling from the sky, like into the laps of all my friends from their parents, just miraculously summoning up this deposit. And she was like, no one's saying it. No one's saying, Mum and Dad, help me. They're just like, oh yeah, the market's really good right now. No, the market's shit. So talk about it within the friendship group, because it's bound to be a divide and actually a really important conversation to have. And then I think we should be talking about it in politics more broadly and coming up with a way in which we can make inheritance matter less. But also, as I spoke earlier on, the importance of individuals to buckle up and equip themselves with financial education and financial knowledge and a sense of financial empowerment. Like, what can I do? What options do I have? What levers can I pull? What am I likely going to have coming down the line? What does social care look like for my parents? Because social care is not a conversation for old people. It's a dilemma for young people, right? And that is not how it's sold by politicians. And to be frank, politicians want to kick that can down the road as far as possible. So it's thinking about, what's the realities of the economy and how can I educate myself, but also how can I build wealth? Because there are avenues and there are ways and there are, potentials that actually are really empowering. And technology has facilitated that, not just that information, but that potential to build wealth in a way that our parents really didn't have.
That was a clip from our conversation with Dr. Eliza Philby, where we spoke about the importance of the Bank of Mum and Dad in the UK. You can watch the full episode right here.